Hi, this is Rich Bassini here, doing episode 9. And before I get started, I just want to start off by saying thank you to Anchor for letting me create their podcast on their website. And today is May 30th, 2021. Thank you for tuning in. For those who do follow me on here, I just want to say thank you and welcome. Today, I want to talk about the two topics, the ups and downs on eBay and your privacy as a buyer, and also privacy as your seller as well. First, let's go to the nitty gritty. Let's get right into this here. Let's dig into it with the ups and downs with being on eBay, being an eBay seller or an eBay buyer. They're one and the same as far as I'm concerned. I'm just gonna throw this stuff off. I'm just gonna, right off the cuff. I'm just gonna, this is not pre-scripted or anything like that. I'm just gonna express myself, and for those who want to listen to me and take heed on what I'm saying, that's fine. If not, that's fine too. First off, just to let you guys know, with Anchor, I only have 30 minutes to do my podcast. So I'm going to try to get as much as I can within the 30 minutes. What I want to talk today about is the ups and downs about eBay. I've been on eBay now since July of 1999, which makes it over 20 years. On and off seller. I had other jobs prior to that. I was in the IT field. And I didn't think much about eBay back then. I sold a few items just to, feel the water, so to speak. And, it's okay. I mean, it wasn't something I was going to say, I'm going to go quit my job and do eBay full time. And that's why I want to talk today about, I just want to get this out there to people who are thinking about doing that, quitting their jobs and, doing eBay full time. Excuse me. Don't mind me. I'm drinking a cup of coffee here. And I just want to say, folks, it's what I'm telling you is not, it's nothing really that, it's like rocket science or anything like that. It's all just basic common sense. But the thing is, being on eBay for over 20 years, and I've been doing a lot of research on my own, not only for myself, but others, listen to what other people have to say. And there are people out there that want to, I go to the community chat board. Some people say, I'm done with eBay, the fees and this and that and the other thing. Look, I have to honestly say eBay is, well, for me, it's my number one platform. I use it exclusively. Okay. And I have to honestly say it's been an up and down battle trying to make sales. It really has. What I made at my other job, I got laid off. I went through two company layoffs and one company bankruptcy. And the last one I got laid off was in June of 2016. I worked for a company over here in New York, and I was there for a number of years. Had great benefits, pension plan, 401k plan, bonuses every year, you name it. Paid holidays, sick days, and all that other stuff. It had soup to nuts. Great company. I loved it. When I got laid off, I didn't take it personally because 1,000 of us got laid off. Basically, a lot of us did. It wasn't just me. Different departments. And what happened was, those jobs went overseas, and I didn't want to get into that there because when I think about it, it really upsets me. And the reason why it upsets me is because we need the jobs here, folks, plain and simple. We need the jobs here. I understand other places and big corporations, they want to, what do you call it there? Farm out the work to, make a profit, show their company, show their shareholders that their company's making a profit and so on and so forth. And it's good for their shareholders as well, because now they're making, money on dividends on their invested stocks. But it really hurts when you have jobs that are needed, are much needed here in this country, in the United States, to go overseas, to farm out the work because, you want to get the work done cheaper, cheaper labor and so on and so forth. I understand the logic and, the validity and behind what they're doing, these big corporations. But the bottom line is, folks, We need the jobs here, plain and simple. I have a relative that has a bachelor's degree in business and worked for a pharmaceutical company. Worked with two of them, and needless to say, made very well, good money working for them. And he got laid off the first job, which was the one that paid the most at the time. And then he recently got laid off. I think back in was it March? I think it was March. He got let go. Right? Yeah, January, March. It was March. He got let go. So now he's unemployed. The old saying, now he's not, well, pounding the streets is an old term we used to use back in the day. Now he's looking for a job. And talking to my a relative saying that, because I asked about how is so and so doing, and they said, well, he's looking there for jobs, but the only problem he's having right now is a lot of these companies, they want experience. I said, I know. I went through the same thing in the IT field. Here's the thing with getting into with college and stuff like that. I'm all for college. I believe in. I went to school for business. For business, well, it would be an associate's degree, but for business. And back in those days, back in the 70s and 80s, you basically didn't have to have a resume. Well, I'm just saying. Well, I remember having a resume. All I remember is back in the day getting jobs, and you can get them left and right. All you had to do is fill out an application. You put your other job experiences, other jobs you had, and that was it. Today, they want resumes, which, which makes sense. I mean, today, companies that hire people, they want to know your background. What are you doing? What did you do prior to this year? Do you fit the position? Do you have the experience for it? And the problem I see here with this here in general is that how are you going to gain experience if none of these companies going to take you in? Excuse me, folks. Can't drink cold coffee. Anyway, yeah. So this is the problem, and when I hear people, and I know my relative would not quit his job to do eBay full time. It'd be crazy. When I found out the salary was making over 6 digits. You're not going to quit your job. You're not going to quit, your job to do eBay. Now, the point I'm alluding to right now is, or I should say, I wanted to focus on is when I had my job, I had the bonus and stuff like that there. It had a great package plan, all that stuff. There was no way I was going to quit. There was no way I was going to leave my job on any circumstances. Okay. Not only that, the company had, like I said, had a pension plan too. So that was very important to me, because where I am over here in New York, there are not too many companies that offer pension plans outside of a state and federal jobs. If you work for a county, you get a pension. If you're like if you're a cop, or if you're working as a EMT or whatever, they have pensions and stuff like that. Those type of jobs, court offices and so on and so forth. There was no way I was going to quit my job to pursue a career in eBay. Now, I do have a YouTube channel, okay, that I talk about reseller news, and I do the Let's Talk eBay. And with those two, the reseller news, basically I talk about what goes on, what's going on in the e-commerce world, and I do expand on eBay topics. The Let's Talk eBay it's not two separate channels. I keep them together, I merge together. I'm not going to keep up any. I'm not going to have register all these different YouTube channels. I'm lucky to manage one I have, so I keep them together. Like people might say, well, why don't you just have reseller news on one channel and then have Let's Talk? I'm not going that route. I'm not going to go that way. I'm not going to sit there and have all these different YouTube channels. There's enough going on in my life right now to sit there managing 2 channels. Not that it's a big deal, but what I'm trying to say is, for those of you out there, if you want to do eBay, do it on a part-time venture, a side hustle, whatever you want to call it. But don't quit your day job. Seriously, don't quit your day job, because you're not going to be a happy camper. Seriously. For what I'll just share this with you. I'm not going to get into figures, but when I made it my job back in 2016. Okay. And I'm being upfront and honest. I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm not gonna sit here and come on my podcast here, do my podcast and sit there and telling you lies. I'm not gonna sit there just to make, get listeners or whatever. I'm telling you like it is. Good, bad, or indifferent. You take it however you want. But there is no way, and this is the gospel truth, there is no way I am making the money that I made when I was working at my job. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even want to stress to you what I made because it's really not good. Seriously. Um, you know, even though I'm top rated seller, a power, that power seller, now they're taking that away is it June the 20th, I think June 20th or whatever. The power seller, they're doing away with that program. And you get a little certificate there that says over here, let's see, I got my book here, my loose leaf here. It goes over here, and you can print it out too. I'm so honored to have it. Being sarcastic, really, but no, seriously. It goes on to say here, eBay, you, the power seller community, thank you, Richard J. Piscini, for 2 years of leading examples as an eBay power seller. And then it's got the person's name, Andrea Stairs, Vice President, Seller Community, and CMO of North America. I printed it out. I printed it out. I put him in plastic. I put him in, put in a plastic protecting covering here. And they sent a letter with it as well. And it goes on, shop RJ Piscini for great deals. We're retiring the Power Seller program. It goes on to say, we're retiring the Power Seller program. Dear Shop RJ Piscini, as a Power Seller, you're one of eBay's most trusted and valued sellers. While the Power Seller program is part of the eBay's heritage as providing a meaningful badge for sellers, it now exists alongside the eBay Top Rated Seller program. Because the Top Rated Seller program offers more meaningful seller recognition as well as a wider set of benefits, we have made a decision to simplify our seller programs and retire the Power Seller program and badges as of June 20th, 2021. It has been inspiring to see how the Power Seller has shaped eBay since the launch of the program more than 20 years ago, and we are now encouraged to continue the eBay journey as part of the Top Rated Seller program. Learn more about it, and they have a thing there, hyperlink, which says Top Rated Seller. You click it on. It goes on to say, so that you won't lose your benefits of being a Power Seller starting June 20th of your 7 calendar day grace period for negative and neutral feedbacks will be included in the Top Rated Seller program. In recognition of your contribution as a powered seller, we have created a special certificate, which can be personalized down here. You can print it out, whatever, and you put the years that you were a power seller. And it says, thank you for being one of eBay's most active, long-standing sellers for contributing to our heritage. We look forward to supporting you as I continue to represent the best of selling eBay through the Top Rated Seller program, your eBay team. Yeah, so they gave you a certificate, like that you printed out. You were able to print it out in there, and you put in how many years you were a power seller. They want dates, and I did that there. And it's nice getting a little thing. You get recognition like that. No more time for the swig of coffee, folks. Sorry, guys, I can't drink coffee. It's getting lukewarm. Ugh. Anyway, yeah. So I really am happy with they sent me a nice little certificate and stuff like that to print out. But anyway, when it comes down to the actuality of doing eBay full time, I'll leave you with this because I want to go into the other topic as far as the privacy topic with eBay brought that out too. And we'll get to that in a second. In regards to people sitting there saying, I want to quit my job, I want to do eBay full time. Folks, all I'm saying is this, okay? And you're hearing from a person that's been on eBay for over 20 years. I heard stories, I've seen people talking about it. And to be honest with you, that's a big leap to take. And let me tell you something. If you're going to do something like that, make sure you have all your ducks lined up in a row, because let me tell you something. You might be doing well, making a decent amount of money every month. If you're making enough money to cover your mortgage, your car payments, or whatever, your credit card, and you're just overall living expenses, and you feel like you're making a lot of money to cover all that, making equivalent to the job you just resigned from, well, I wish you all the best. Kudos to you. Okay, that's all I could say. Because I'll be honest with you, for the amount of sales I make, and some people might say, well, if you feel that way about it, then why don't you just get off of eBay altogether and go back to work full time again? I toyed around the idea. I'll be upfront and honest with you, but I'm hanging in there. I was able to pay all my bills off pretty much, no mortgage and stuff like that, no car payments, credit card debt. So, and plus I'm getting a government check right now to keep me going for a while. So right now for me, it's okay. I'm able to, so to hold out. But for the most part, um, I highly wouldn't recommend anybody to quit their job just yet when it comes to want to sell on eBay full time. Um, really try this. This is my advice to you guys, whoever's thinking about that. What you might want to do is do it as a side hustle. Keep your 9 to 5 job, even though you hate it. See what you could do with this here, because a lot of people have great expectations of going into a business. I'm going to quit my job. I used to listen to eBay radio. I'm going to quit my job and do eBay full time. And I used to listen to these people. I said, are they crazy? No, seriously. I mean, my situation turned out to be a hobby. This was, eBay was a hobby for me. It started off as a hobby, and now it's a full-time hobby. It was a part-time hobby. Now it's a full-time hobby. Since I got laid off from my job back in June of 2016. So all I'm saying is, before you take that leap and you want to jump into doing eBay full time, please reconsider what you want to do. Remember what you have with your job. You got benefits, hopefully. You got a steady paycheck coming in every month, or every week, I should say. But your monthly expenses and stuff like that. You know what you're making from your job, your current job. Think about it, folks. It's a big responsibility to do what you're going to do, because let me tell you something. You might have plenty of good months where you're saying, I'm making good money. I'm making just as much money as I'm doing my job. I think this justifies me to quit my job. Think about it really strongly, because, folks, I'm telling you, and I'm being upfront and honest, you're hearing from a guy that's been doing this here on and off for over 20 years. And I'll be honest with you, and I'm being upfront without giving you figures. I am not making the money that I was making on my last job. Okay, if that's of any consolation to anybody, if that's of any help to anybody, that's the gospel truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So please think about it before you make that decision. I know a lot of people hate their jobs. Some of them, I hate 9 to 5 jobs. I want to do my own thing, and they go on eBay, YouTube, and I hear all these stories. People are, oh, this guy here, I quit my job. I'm doing this full time. Yeah, that's good. What happens when everything starts slowing down? May, for me, I did a May. I just did a what do you call it there? A sales for May. My sales were dismal. What did I make? 5, 6 sales for the month of May. And I'm nothing to write home about, folks, because when eBay gets through taking their fees, the final value fees, and this fee and that fee, and believe me, the profit margin's really low. So you might want to think twice about that, really. That's all I'm telling you. Give it a strong thought. Sleep on it. Talk to your wife or whoever, your friends or whatever relatives, and get feedback from it. Because, folks, I'm telling you right to boot, you are not going to be a happy camper if you give up what you have now to pursue this as a full-time gig. Okay? Be careful. That's all I'm telling you. Try it on a part-time basis. Do it as a side hustle to make extra money. Maybe you're putting money away for a vacation or a trip with your family or whatever. Do it like that. I'm not telling you not to go into business or to do this here. I'm just saying proceed with caution. That's all I'm telling you. All right? That's all I'm telling you guys. The other thing I want to share with you guys is this thing with privacy. People, I had one on my YouTube channel. Somebody was telling me about when it comes to selling things on Facebook or whatever, like platforms like that, Craigslist or whatever. How do you feel about having people come to your house? And I told these people, I told them, I replied back on my Facebook. I said, look, I don't have a problem with people coming to the house. First off, everything you're doing on eBay is done, the transactions you're doing is on eBay. So you're pretty much protected as far as that part goes. Now, if somebody comes to your house and, gives you a hard time, that's a different story. I think that's what people are afraid of. Suppose I come there, the buyer made the payment, they made the transaction, and then later on, they decide they don't want it. They come back to your house, say, I want a full refund, this, that, and they start giving you a hard time. I heard stories like that. I'm not going to mention a person, but there was a story like that where the seller sold the buyer something. The buyer bought something with the seller, and they didn't like the item. They wanted the money back, and one thing led to the other, where it came to the point where the seller, because he knew the address, came to the person's house, and the seller had to call the cops because the buyer was getting, belligerent. It was starting to get upset and, was making all these crazy accusations and talking and stuff. It got to a point where the person had to call the cops. Now, look, here's my thing. When it comes to privacy, the only thing you could do, and I think it's kind of crazy, it's a catch-22. When you print off labels, when you sell something on eBay and you're over there getting ready to print out your label, your shipping label, right? It's going to have your address on it, a return address. You could cross it out if you want to do that, but that's crazy, and I'll tell you why. Suppose that package gets lost. Who are they going to know to send it back to? Now, people say, yeah, but doesn't the post office open up the package and look at the package? Suppose you didn't put a package slip in there. I know people that don't put package slips in there, and I do. Now, when you're printing out a package slip on eBay, it gives you an option there where you could hide your mailing address on the package slip. But what about the shipping address? It's got it there. So it's a catch-22. You're not gonna be able to avoid that problem when it comes to privacy issues like that on eBay. Now, my only suggestion is this. Okay, and from what I understand, reading about it on the United States Postal Service, what I'm gonna say is maybe you may want to look into getting a post office box. Now, there are a couple of sellers that have YouTube channels, and they put their information on there. If you want to buy something or like merch off of them or whatever, you make donation, whatever it works, they have a PO box address. I've seen it. I'm thinking of getting one again myself. I had one and I ended up letting it go because I said, after I lost my job, I said, because I was doing this as, like I said, a side hustle. I said, geez, I don't know if I want to spend that kind of money every year. I think, well, you do it every 6 months, you pay into it. I think it was costing me, I don't know if it was $39 every 6 months or $40 a month. I know it came out to something like, it was under $100 a year. I don't know what it is now. But that's one way of concealing your address, your home address. Okay. But, the thing is, folks, there's really, if you're a seller and you have that on there, then you should be okay. If you want, like, that's if you want to go spring for a PO box. Some people may not want to. I know relatives that don't want to spring for PO boxes. I'm just going to leave my resident address. I don't care. They take a gamble like that chance. I myself, I don't have the PO box right now. I had one. And to be honest with you, I never, thank God, never encountered a problem where I had an irate buyer, if they bought something from me, like from, let's say, Facebook or even from eBay, come back and give me a hard time. I didn't have that type of situation. But if you're very concerned about your privacy issue, like then the only thing I can tell you is, this is the only way you can protect yourself. If that's the thing too, people don't feel comfortable having people come to the house. I understand that. You got a total stranger coming to your house. You don't know you don't know what this person's all about. You don't know this person from Adam and Eve, right? So you may be very, receptive to this. Say like, I don't want nobody coming to my house. And I understand wholeheartedly. So my take is this: if you're going to do eBay and you're going to set it up that way, don't check off local pickup available, whatever. Don't put that in your listing, because you will have, if people live in your town or your state, they are going to reach out to you if they see local pickup available. I know, because it happened to me. Okay. And you can do that. When you on your listings, you could have it where you ship, worldwide if you want to go international. I don't. I ship in the United States. But you could also, in your listing, you could also check off local pickup available, something along that line. You could leave it there. It's okay. As far as I know, they have it that way. I know, because I experienced it on 2 occasions. Okay. So I had no problem. It was covered. The payment was covered because they used PayPal back then. Now it's through the eBay Managed Payment Service. So again, it's all up to how you feel. If you're okay with it, if you do Facebook Marketplace, most likely you're gonna have people come to your house, right? I mean, I sold things off Facebook Marketplace when it came to my house, and the transactions were good. They were good. I had no problem with it. Person gave me the money. They sold a little electronic stereo, and they paid up front. They paid when I seen them, and everything was good. I had no problem with it. Some people pay through PayPal. It depends how you work, how you want to work it. But in regards to your privacy, privacy issue is regards to, like, I don't like the idea of having people my home address. Well, if you don't want that, then folks, you might want to reach out and get yourself a post office box. Okay, that's one way to avoid the privacy issue as far as that part goes. Okay, that's the only thing I can tell you. When you're printing your packing slip, if you have a PO box, that doesn't matter. You don't have to hide your address because it's got the PO in it. But I know when I print out my packing slip, it says you could hide your address, your resident address, whatever. But the shipping label has it though. Okay, I don't know if it's going to hide it on the shipping label because, again, that's a foolish move to take, because if the package gets lost, how are they going to know where to send it back? Right? So think about that for a change. I understand people don't like the idea of people, coming to the house. I understand the privacy issue, but that's the only way you can avoid that, folks. Okay. There is something I did read on eBay about, I don't know, they keep telling you reach out to your congressman or senator or whatever. It's something to do, again, with privacy, where they want to make it where they don't give all the information, put it out there for people to have your home address, your phone number, and all that other stuff. And I understand. I'm not too crazy about that either. But I'll get into that at another time. Like I said, I'm running out of time here because I only get 30 minutes with this podcast. So we're at the 26-minute mark right now. And the other thing I just want to say really quick before I close out this podcast is in regards to managed payments. That was another topic that I was going to throw into the mix, but I throw it in now because I just thought about it. People are complaining about managed payments. I, on the other hand, was with PayPal for a long time, since the inception of it, when it was working hand in hand with eBay. Never had a problem with PayPal. They always stuck by me. I felt well protected. And eBay, from what I understand, is going to grandfather, or going to make it where, I don't know if it's going to be mandatory. Most likely, it's going to be mandatory, where everybody's going to have to, jump into the bandwagon and join and sign up for managed payments. I will tell you this though, all honesty, I've been with them now for a few months, and I have no problem with them whatsoever. I don't know what all the big hype is. People complaining, oh, this, that. They make it sound like it's the worst thing in the world. And I can see why eBay feels the way they do. They're doing it. They want to keep everything under one umbrella, so to speak. So you sell on eBay, you buy on eBay, you keep everything on eBay. Now, here's the thing. The managed payments is only for the selling part of it. The buyer can, from what I understand from an eBay teammate, they said they could still use PayPal and all the other, other options as far as payment options. Okay, I don't know if it's Discover, this, I don't know, whatever cards, whatever they have it. They they can use other payment services for the buyers, but for the sellers, eBay wants people to, use the managed payment service. I have no problem with it. That's all I'm telling you. All right. We're going out to the 28-minute mark here. I just want to say one thing. I want to throw a little, segue for my YouTube channel, and I want to just throw this out really quick. On my YouTube channel, you can just type in there if you want to find me, or if you're interested to listen to the reseller news and the Let's Talk eBay. Just type in YouTube. Go to YouTube on the search and just type in Richard J. Passini. That will bring you to my YouTube channel. If you like the content I put out and you want to listen to more, you want to be a subscriber, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Just hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. And if you want to be updated when I post out new videos, please hit that bell notification icon. The other thing is my eBay listings. I want to give you the eBay user ID. So in case you want to look me up, it's shop-rjpassini-4-great-deals. I had to put dash because I didn't want to keep it one long word. Okay. Anyway, we're coming on to the 29-minute session here. I just want to say in closing, thank you for listening to my podcast. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to get in touch with me, please do. My email address is rjpassini@verizon.net. And on behalf of Anchor, I just want to say thank you so much, Anchor, for letting me create this podcast on your website. And I just want to say also, as I always say in my videos, for those who are thinking about selling on eBay, I wish you guys all the best in sales. My name is Rich Passini. You listen to episode 9 on the podcast. So thank you again. Have a great day. Until next time, bye bye for now.